Now, there's been a sharp rise in the number of people fleeing from Eritrea to neighboring Ethiopia. That's according to the UN's refugee agency. It says more than 6,000 refugees have claimed asylum there in the past 37 days, double the rate seen in previous months. Most of the refugees are between 18 and 24 years old. But what exactly are they running away from? Eritrea emerged from its long war of independence in 1993, only to plunge once again into military conflict, first with Yemen and then with its old adversary, Ethiopia. Today, a fragile peace prevails. Eritrea is a one-party state. The president, Isaias Afwerki, has been in power for over 20 years. Its 6 million strong population have never had the chance to vote. The government has been accused of repression and of hindering the development of democracy. Young people are fleeing the country in droves, scared of an open-ended mandatory national service, and the economy is failing. As well as the large numbers fleeing to neighboring Ethiopia and Sudan, this year nearly 37,000 Eritreans have sought refuge in Europe, risking their lives on packed, unsafe boats crossing the Mediterranean. Well, let's speak to Terry Ongaro, the UNHCR's Regional Public Information Officer for Eritrea and Ethiopia. She's in our Nairobi bureau. And to the Eritrean ambassador to the UN, Girma Asmerom, who is in our studio in New York. Ms. Ongaro first, what are these refugees telling you?
This is not a new phenomenon. The refugees have been seeking asylum, especially in Sudan, for the last 40 years and in Ethiopia for the last 12 years or so. One of the main reasons they put forward for fleeing is indeed the phenomenon that you mentioned of forced conscription, which, according to them, is an open-ended arrangement. It is disturbing, obviously, because many young people are fleeing Eritrea on their own to Sudan and Ethiopia, which together have over 200,000 Eritrean refugees. And as you said, in Europe, they're seeing a surge in numbers of people who are arriving. And as you know, they don't arrive by air or by boat. These are people who use illegal means, they're trafficked, they use smugglers to reach Europe.
Okay, Ambassador Asmerom, young people in your country are fleeing in droves.
Well, first of all, I think your sweeping statement of introduction has to be corrected. I don't know where you get your facts and informations, but we don't have enough time to correct you. I hope in the future we could debate that issue.
Oh, are you saying, I mean, 6,000 people have just fled your country over the past 5 weeks? It's max of desperation.
The economic is failing. You say the economic is failing, and the blah, 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 all this kind. The introduction
so Mr. Ambassador, then explain to us, why are these young people fleeing Eritrea?
Very good, very good, very good question. That you should have stuck to that point instead of your introduction. That is not, this is a trend, a phenomena, which is, there is a conceptual mistake. Asylum seekers, refugees, and migrations are three different concepts. Migration is a global phenomenon. Eritreans are migrating to all over the world as everybody is migrating. There is a global report where it says about 32 million people are migrating to different parts of the world. So this is not an exception. By her own definition, what we see now is Eritreans being victimized of the human trafficking. It's a PR exercise by UNHCR also, because they get their funding based on the amount of refugees they claim they have in certain countries. Ethiopia, you introduced, there are asylum seekers in it. They're not asking asylum in Ethiopia or in Sudan. They're just passing through. They are victims of human trafficking, yes. Are migration from all over the world.
Mr. Ambassador, but you've just heard Ms. Ongaro from the UNHCR say that they are being told by these refugees that they're fleeing this forced conscription.
That is a very good question. Is it really true? The first conscription, there is no forced conscription. It is a national service. My country is occupied, and every able-bodied has to defend his sovereignty. That is one point. But having said that, there are migrations who are being victimized by human traffickers. So Ethiopia is a transit camp. Sudan is a transit camp. As she has said, in Libya, they're trying to go through Europe. There were 2 million Africans who were really, deployed in Libya during Gaddafi time.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, we don't really have much time. I just need to put one more question to Ms. Ongaro of the UN there. And how are these refugees being treated when they cross over into Ethiopia? I mean, both countries are still technically at war.
Refugees are received in Ethiopia and in Sudan and recognized prima facie. That means they're automatically recognized as refugees in these countries. Now, they arrive in areas which are quite remote and underserved. And as the ambassador says, obviously there are issues of funding and resourcing which are a problem. These refugees have access to only the most limited basic services, and that becomes a push factor for them to seek opportunities elsewhere.
Okay, Ms. Ongaro. Ms. Ongaro, I'm afraid we have to leave it there, but thank you very much. Speaking to Terry Ongaro there from the UNHCR and the Eritrean ambassador to the UN. Thank you very much, both of you.